Hi everybody, this is Kirsty Grossart here, and this is part 2 of a 3-part series on preparing for your press to handstands. Okay, in these 3 videos, I'm answering the questions, are you ready for your press to handstand? Now, in the previous video, I looked at whether your handstand was good enough, and we went through a follow-along class on how you can improve your handstand and really get ready to start working the press to handstand. So if you haven't had a chance to check that video out, go take a look. There's a lot of really good content in there. Today's video is about, am I flexible enough for the press to handstand? And we'll be following up that with a flexibility follow-along routine that you can use to help you increase your flexibility to get closer to that press to handstand. Why is flexibility important for the press to handstand? Okay, now the answer is physics. If we think about our handstand, where everything is stacked vertically in one line, that's our most efficient position. Right? The more parts of our body come away from that line, the more strength we need to hold them there. It's the same as if I was holding a plate of pancakes out in front of me here, okay, it's going to be more work than if I was to bring that same plate of pancakes here, right? And also it's going to be easier for me to eat the pancakes when they're right up here. Okay, so if we're in our handstand and we can't get into that stacked line, our shoulders might have to come a little out of line, okay? And our feet might be out of line. We might be in that banana position, okay? And what this does is it requires a little bit more strength. Now, as we lower down for the press, you're taking your legs and you're lowering them down. And if you don't have that overhead mobility, as you lower down, you're going to need to shift your shoulders even further forward to compensate for that lack of flexibility. Okay, this is going to require more strength and more work for you. The same is true with the pancake. The more we can bring our legs really wide into a middle split and then pull them really close to our body, okay, the closer everything is to that midpoint and the less strength that is required in order to perform the movement. The more our legs are further away, right, the more open our hips are, the more our shoulders are going to have to lean forward to compensate, and the more work we're going to have to do. So it's absolutely possible to press the handstand without great flexibility, and I know a lot of people who can, but it's a lot easier to press the handstand when you have good flexibility. Before we get started on our follow-along routine, we're going to take a look at where you're currently at with your range of motion. So for this first exercise, you're going to need a stick. You're going to sit cross-legged, and ideally sit with your back against the wall. This just ensures you keep a nice straight back and you're not arching or leaning back too much. You're going to hold the stick about shoulder width apart, and we're going to be really mindful not to squeeze our shoulder blades together as we lift our arms overhead. Okay, so we're going to keep that nice shoulder blade position, keep our head neutral, back nice and flat, and we're just going to reach the stick overhead. You can reach it up and try not to strain to get it further. We're going to our comfortable range of motion and then come back down. And we can reassess that at the end of our workout. The next thing we're going to look at is our pancake flexibility. So we're going to look at this in 2 positions. The first one is going to be about a 90-degree position with your hips. So you're going to take your legs to about 90 degrees, and maybe that's as wide as your legs go. Maybe they go wider. So we're going to start at 90 degrees. You're going to sit up tall, and you're going to try to see how far you can lean forward. Now, the goal is not to do this, right? We're not trying to get our head to the floor. We're trying to get our belly button to the floor. So reaching forward, seeing how close you can get your belly button to the floor. And again, no straining, just see what your current cold range of motion is. Once you've done at the 90 degrees, you're going to bring your legs even wider, okay? You're going to take your legs as wide as possible. So the wider you are, the easier it's going to be to get your belly button to the floor. So as wide as you can go now, belly button to the floor. Okay, and you might feel this stretch in a slightly different place. But again, it's just an assessment of where you're at the start of this follow-along routine. let's get into our follow along routine. We're going to begin with our overhead mobility, and we've got 2 exercises that we're going to do. We're going to do them back to back, and we're going to do 2 to 3 rounds. I'm going to demonstrate 2 rounds here, but you can always pause and do that 3rd round on your own. So the first exercise is a shoulder flexion stretch. We're going to hold onto our elbows and place your elbows on something that's firm but soft. It's not going to hurt your elbows. So with our elbows on this bench, we're going to keep our ribs down and our butt tucked. And the first thing you're going to do is try and get as long as possible. So you're thinking about reaching your butt back towards the wall behind you. And that's going to really get into that elevated shoulder position, create that space in the shoulder joint. Okay? Once you're sitting back as far as you can let your chest drop a little bit and let your shoulders come down towards the floor. We still want to keep the lower back flat, okay? But we can open up through the upper back a little more. So we're going to hold for 30 seconds. Then we're going to press down an isometric, press down into the bench for 10 seconds, and then relax for another 30 seconds. So elbows on the bench, ribs down, butt tucked. We're going to sit back, thinking about reaching our butt back towards the wall behind. Feel that space in the shoulder joint, and then let your chest drop. And the whole time we're moving slowly. We have full awareness of what we're feeling. We're not forcing anything. We're just bringing awareness to what we're feeling, where we're feeling the stretch. And then as you exhale, see if you can relax a little bit more. And now we're going to push our arms down into the bench. So I'm going to push down with my elbows. And a good isometric contraction won't be very visible. So don't worry if you're not seeing a lot happening. It's really that idea of pushing your arms down into the bench. You can start nice and gently and then slowly build it up. So you're going higher intensity for 3, 2, 1. And then you can stop pushing down. We're going to take a couple of breaths. So inhale, exhale, and try to relax. And then inhale, exhale, and try to sink deeper into the stretch. So reaching your butt towards the wall, and then dropping your chest down towards the floor. And we'll hold this for another 30 seconds in this position. And again, we're focusing on where we're feeling it, what we're feeling. We want to be feeling a nice stretch. If you are feeling anything painful, okay, or more than mild discomfort, then back off or come out of the stretch. Okay, nothing in our stretching should be painful. It's not going to have the desired effect. So we're just, every exhale, seeing if we can relax a little bit more. Good. And come out of that stretch. We're going to superset this with an active flexibility exercise. Now, I'm going to show you one using a kettlebell and a stick. You can also use partner assistance for this exercise. So I'm just going to move my bench to the side, and I'm going to bring the kettlebell here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place my stick through the kettlebell. And what that does is it just provides a little bit of resistance that I can work against. Now, a kettlebell might be too high for you. A really great way to do this is just to hold the stick and have a partner hold the resistance for you. You can also use the wall as assistance. So you can do this standing with the wall behind you, use the wall as assistance. Or you can find something else, a stall bar. The bottom bar and a stall bar is great. Anything that you can kind of get a stick under. So this exercise, we're lying on our stomach. Gonna get into a nice line, ribs down, butt tucked. Okay, Then we're going to try and actively lift the stick as high as we can. Now, as we do this, we want that same thing we were doing in our assessment. We're not squeezing our shoulder blades together. So we're actually going to try and do the opposite. So we're going to try and break the stick, right, which is going to pull our shoulder blades apart. So we're trying to break the stick and trying to lift the stick. So we're holding onto the stick, but shoulder width apart. We're going to try to break the stick, and then we're going to try to lift the stick. And you see the kettlebell handle provides that resistance. So we're going to go for 10 seconds. You can relax, and we'll do that 2 more times. So lift. And relax, 1 more. Good. Put that to the side, and we're going to go back. We'll do another round of our shoulder stretch, and then 1 more round of this. So grab your bench or chair. Okay, we're going elbows on the bench. First thing we're doing, butt tucked, ribs down. We're trying to lengthen, so we're trying to get our butt to the wall behind us. And then we're going to let our chest drop towards the floor. And we're holding this for 30 seconds. Where are you feeling the stretch? Can you relax that part of your body a little bit more? Can you let go of some of the tension that you're holding? And again, we don't want to be forcing ourselves down. We're just letting gravity help us. And we're letting go of that tension to allow the gravity to pull us further into the stretch. And then we're going to press down into the bench. So pushing down with your elbows. Ramp it up a little bit. Pressing down a bit harder. 3, 2, 1. And then we can stop pressing down. And try big inhale, exhale, and relax a little bit more. Inhale and try to sink deeper. So we're reaching our butt back and then letting our chest drop down. And again, notice where you feel it. You might feel it in a completely different place now, right? For me, I was feeling it very much in the lats in the first round, and this time I'm feeling a lot more in my shoulders. You can try to relax that a little bit more. Good. And come out. We can move our bench to the side. And we'll do 1 more round of our stick raises. So 3 times 10 seconds. Again, you might need your stick a lot lower than mine is. This is because I already have pretty good shoulder flexibility. So you might want to have your stick under something lower. You can use a dumbbell or something to hold the stick closer to the ground. So again, we act as if we're trying to break the stick so our shoulder blades don't squeeze together. And then we're going to lift the stick. 10 seconds. Lower. I want you to also think about elevating and locking out your arms so you're reaching your hands as close to the wall in front of you as you can. So try to break the stick and then lift the stick. Relax, 1 more. Try to break the stick, reach forward. So that's our superset for overhead mobility. You can do that one more time if you feel like you're still making good progress. But before we move on to our hip mobility, let's kind of have a look at where we're at with our overhead mobility. So again, seated, cross legs, back nice and flat, ribs down, holding the stick shoulder width apart, making sure we don't squeeze our shoulder blades together. Reach the stick up. And you might find that you get more range of motion. You might find that the position is more comfortable. For hip mobility, we have 3 exercises that we're going to do. So 2 of them are stretches. 1 of them is an active exercise. So the first one we're going to do is a tailor's pose. So for this one, you're going to begin standing. And you can do this against a wall. You're going to have your feet as close to the wall as you can then sit down into. You're going to bring the soles of your feet together. And you're going to lower down into this butterfly position. Okay, now you can see my box is kind of moving there. So that's why a wall is preferable for this one. So you want to sit up nice and straight. Try to rotate your pelvis so that your lower back is not pushing into the wall. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is just relax into this stretch. So we're trying to get our knees down to the floor. Relaxing, trying to open up through the inside of our legs. And we're holding this position for 30 seconds. Now you can contract the muscles here in your butt to try to pull your knees actively a little further into the stretch. Good. So our contraction now is going to be pressing our feet together and pressing our knees together. So you're going to place your hands on your knees. You're going to press your feet towards each other, and then you're going to push up with your knees. You can start gently, ramp that up, a little harder, a little more for 3, 2, 1, and then we can stop that contraction. Deep breath and try to relax. And then another deep breath. Try to sink a little deeper. And this is where we can contract these muscles back here. Try to pull your knees down. Now you can provide a little extra assistance with your hands. Just gently. And again, we're not forcing anything. What we're doing is we're providing a little assistance. And often this can really help us relax into positions. Just that little bit of external assistance to help with gravity. We'll hold for another 30 seconds here. Good. Bring your knees together. And we're going to come into our second stretch, which is a standing straddle stretch. So for this one, you can stand with your legs as wide as feels good for you. I like to have the feet facing forward here. Now we want to think about starting this movement by sticking your butt out. So an anterior pelvic tilt. So your butt's sticking out. We're going to keep our back flat. As we lower down, you'll feel a nice stretch in your hamstring. Okay. Once you get as low as you can, okay, through here, through the hinge, then maintain that position there, and then you can let your back round a little bit. So this way we get that full hamstring stretch, and then we get to round our back a little bit for that last part of the movement, and relax your head and drop into the stretch. Now, if you can't place your hands on the floor, you can use a yoga block or a bench or something to place your hands on. And we're just trying to relax in this position. Let yourself sink. On the exhale, try to let go of tension, try to relax. Now the isometric that we're going to perform in this position is actually going to be trying to squeeze our legs together. So pressing your feet down into the floor is almost like you're trying to pull your feet towards each other, contracting all the muscles on the inside of your legs. So from here, we're going to press down with our feet, try to squeeze your feet together. Okay, ramp that up, pushing a little harder or pulling a little harder for 3, 2, 1. And then take a big deep breath and try to relax. Another deep breath and try to sink deeper into the stretch. Now, if you're comfortable with your hands on the floor, you can actually gently grab onto your ankles. As much as you can, try to keep the back flat as you try to pull yourself down. It's not trying to pull this way. We're really trying to pull from here. And it's very gentle. Again, it's assisting gravity and not forcing ourselves into a position. The entire time, be really mindful of how it feels. Is it feeling that nice stretch sensation, or are you feeling any pain? Right? We want that stretch sensation. Good. And then after 30 seconds, you can come out of that stretch. We're going to sit down onto the floor for our last exercise in this sequence. So for this last exercise, it's going to be a seated leg raise. So you're going to sit in a straddle position. Now I like to place my hands flat on the floor, but for some of you, if you place your hands flat on the floor, you're going to have a hard time lifting your legs. So if that is you, you can go fingertips on the floor. And if you're still having a hard time lifting your legs, you can go one leg at a time. Okay, that's going to make the exercise easier. So we're going to place your hands, okay, however you want to, and we're going to lift. We'll hold for 3 seconds. We'll lower down with control. Okay, we're going to do 5 reps. So we're going to lift for 1, 2, 3, lower. Now, as I lower, I'm imagining I'm lowering to like a needle. So I'm not just kind of dropping my foot down. I'm gently lowering it and then lifting again for 1, 2, 3. Lowering. 1, 2, 3. 2 more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now people always ask, how wide do you do this? All the widths, okay? So training it narrow is going to work that active flexibility in this position. Training it a little wider is going to work it in that position. And in your press to handstand, you're going to need that active flexibility in all positions. So I like to find one that is not impossible, that I can't do, but where I need to work. So this is a good width for me, but kind of play around, see what you need to do. Let's go back. I'm going to do another round. We'll go back to our tailor's pose. So this one, again, you can do it against the wall, starting close to the wall, feet together, sitting down. Now you want your heels as close to your butt as you can. This is not my best position. So my feet, there's a little distance there, but if you can get your feet closer, that is great. You want to sit up tall, try to get the lower back off the wall, hold on to your ankles, and actively try to pull your knees to the floor. And again, we're doing 30-second hold, trying to relax into the position. Good. And we'll do our contraction. So placing your hands here, you're going to push your feet together and then push your knees up. So pushing my feet together, pushing my knees up. Okay, ramping that up, pressing harder for 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to let go of that contraction. Deep breath. Try to relax. And take another deep breath. And I'm going to actively pull my knees down, pulling into a stretch. I'm going to give myself a little assistance here. And As I'm holding this position, I'm just noticing where I'm feeling it. I've noticed it's changed a little bit since the last time. Interestingly, feeling a lot more on this side this time versus this side. And you'll notice that changes day to day. And that's why when you're doing your mobility work, when you're doing your flexibility work, you can't just do it mindlessly. You can't just be like, right, I'm just gonna do this while I'm, doing 10 other things, right? Focus on how it's feeling, because you only have one body, right? So we want to take good care of it. We want to get the most out of the practice that we're doing. Good. And we'll come out of that position. We'll go into our standing forward fold. So legs apart. We're going to start with that pelvic tilt. So stick your butt out, stick your butt back. So we get all that hinge from the hip, really feeling that stretch through your hamstring. When you got that full range, you can let yourself drop down, relax your neck, relax your jaw, and just sink into the stretch. Okay, we're going to hang out here for 30 seconds. You can actively as well contract here and try to pull yourself deeper into the stretch. It's almost like you're trying to pull yourself further towards the floor. So it's a combination of relaxing the muscles that you're stretching and engaging the muscles that are going to help pull you deeper into position. And relax the neck. And then we're going to do our contraction. So we're trying to pull our feet towards each other. So pressing down, pull your feet towards each other. Build it up, pulling them harder. For 3, 2, 1. And we can let go of that. Take a deep breath and try to relax. Take another deep breath and try to sink deeper into the stretch. Using a little bit of additional assistance if that feels good to you. I have to always remind myself in this position to relax my neck, relax my jaw, and it's amazing how much tensing those up can restrict your body's ability to kind of relax in the position. So I like to think about reaching my top of my head towards the floor, really getting that length, right? It's about folding in half rather than getting my head through my legs. Good. Slowly come out of that position. And the last thing we're going to do is our seated leg raises. So coming down to your seated position on the floor. Again, legs as wide as you need to go. We're going to do 5 reps, 3-second hold each rep. Okay, maybe this time, maybe you'll be doing one leg at a time. Okay, on your fingertips. So you lift 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. Good. We can do the other side. Again, we're locking the leg out, squeezing the quad. And as you lift, think about not just trying to lift with the leg, trying to lift from here. So you're like pulling that leg up as well. So you're contracting it all. More. If your quad cramps, if you're anything cramps when you're doing this, you can back off slightly. Just know that you're perfectly safe. One, 2, 3. Good. Okay. Hopefully that's feeling good. Let's kind of reassess where we're at with that hip mobility. Okay, so for our hip mobility, we looked at our pancake in a 90-degree position and then in as wide as we can position. So I'm going to start here with the 90-degree, sitting up tall and trying to get my belly button to the floor. And that's definitely feeling a lot lower, a lot deeper. Let's try going wider. And not only do I now feel like my legs are getting a lot wider, let's see how I feel getting dive. Definitely feeling a lot better. So hopefully you're having some similar gains in range of motion. You can do this routine a couple of times a week. That's going to really help out, get you prepared for the press to handstand. Don't forget, join me for part 3, where we'll be looking at your push. The push is a key part of the press to handstand and the handstand. So you really don't want to miss that one. Thank you so much for watching.